Hey guys, ILene Vick here for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. It is Wednesday, April 9th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I am live. It is week 15 of 2025, and in my neck of the woods it is currently 58 degrees with a high of 64 and a low of 30. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my broadcast. I am here for the next 3 hours for coloring, companionship, chat, friendship, giggles, and laughs, pretty pictures, and the what, the how, and the why of adult coloring. Welcome to my YouTube peeps who come in and chat with me. That is always delightful. Welcome to my YouTube peeps who watch this broadcast after the fact. And welcome to my Facebook peeps who see this broadcast when I download it into my group, Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Now, when I talk about teaching the what, the how, and the why of adult coloring, I show you what I'm coloring. I show you how to color it. And I explain the things that I do. All right. I hope everybody's having a decent day today. Let's see who's popping in so far. Mamie. So glad to see you, Mamie. Hi, Tam Tam. Hi, Moggy. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to one and all. Jonah, hello. All right. So we've got our buddy color. Which is our little girl. I think I should be able to finish this tonight. And then, time permitting, ta-da! We've got our new buddy color, which I put in the group. I will do a group-wide broadcast tonight on it. I wasn't able because I did a group-wide broadcast on something else. But this is the picture that we'll be doing. Mamie will pop a link up to it shortly. If we don't get to it tonight, we'll get to it tomorrow. Now, that's from this book, The Many Faces of Jesus Christ, Jubilee, Volume 2. I've done a walkthrough of it, so you should be familiar with it. All right. And the next project, or third project, well, it'll be second because the buddy color is the first, depending on what it is our Dark Fairy Tales by Kirby Roseanne's. And you can see that we are making beautiful progress through this. I'm happy with it. I hope you've been enjoying the progress. Okay. So guys, how was your day today? Win, lose, or draw? I'm going to say draw. Everything's been pretty quiet. Gracie, draw. Amazing Grace. Tam, draw. Angie Wynn got a lot of studying and cleaning done. Stephanie Wynn, our tree was planted. There you go. Jonah, draw. Sarah's having a tough day today. Let's see. On the way to work, my phone dropped and I cracked my nail and hurt my finger. It still hurts. Oh. Then my shoe is breaking, which is a Sketcher and should last longer. Then I almost got hit with a door. Oh. Okay. And Mamie says draw. All right. Sarah says, other than that, my day was great. All right. Find the positive. Now, does anybody have any word on Carmen? Tam says her surgery went well. Excellent. Very, very glad to hear that. Oh, Stephanie, not staying on, just popped in to say hi. Stephanie, I'm glad you did. She said she's in her room and awake. Okay. Stephanie, sorry you can't stay. Okay. Let's get our objects done at the top of the hat here. I'm going to start with the little band around the outside. Hello, Cindy Lott. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in ages. So get your paper towel. Now I'm going to start out with what? My Payne's Gray, because I'm going to do basically a black buckle. Angie, hello. So I'm starting with my Payne's Gray, as I mentioned. Stephanie, good night. She says, everyone have fun coloring. Didn't sleep well last night and exhausted. We'll listen to the birds and ILene to sleep soon, hopefully. Excellent. Oh, Cindy, you've been in and out of the broadcast, basically? Okay. All right, now I've got to snag a little bit of green. Because I didn't quite bring it down far enough when I was coloring the hat. There we go. Cindy, you said I'm not getting far from your teaching. Oh, so glad to hear that. I just wish you'd say hello more often. You don't need to hide. Okay, now I'm going to... Sarah's working on the background. Let's see, working on the elephant critters and the tutus. Okay. Oh, hubby says the same thing, that you shouldn't be sitting in the background so much. Now I'm going to come in with black. Angie, you're looking for a new picture to color as you're finishing the buddy color. Okay, notice how this black around the edges basically really kicks up this coloring here. All right. Hallelujah. That's right, Sarah. Sarah says, I agree. Because you love to include your name with all your saying hellos. And there's Janie. Hi, Janie. Okay, gold metallic pencil. on the buckle. Be sure to leave that little white rim uncolored. Okay, then we've got our inside here to color. And our bottom area. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a dark brown Let's see how I want to do this. Sorry for the wiggle. I'm going to take a little bit of a dark brown and notice how I'm highlighting the corners and some of the edge. See how I'm putting a little bit of that brown in the center to make it look like it's kind of scuffed? Hey Angie, aren't you coloring this picture with us? Oh, okay. I was just wondering why you said you were looking for something else to color. Are you talking about while I'm doing the Curvy Roseanne's picture? Gotcha. Okay, let's start up on these flowers. On this one right here, I'm going to do a color combo of orangey pink. Hold on, guys, I gotta adjust something. Okay. There we go. All right. So we're going to put a little bit of pink here. And then as soon as I find it, we'll complement that with orange. So back blend your orange into your pink. This will make sense in a moment. Trust the process. And then a lighter pink on the very outside, which I'm also going to use as my blender over the orange. To make this look nice and soft. And we have an extra little petal right here that's hiding behind these. Okay. Then in the very center, I'm going to pop in some yellow. I'm using a water-based marker, and notice how that is also accentuating the black in there. So it's a 2-for-1. Now let's go ahead and do the center of our next flower here. Same thing. The yellow accentuates the black while it's coloring the lighter portion. And let's get this little part here. On the far left. And we also have a center of a flower here. And in this case, I'm making them all the same center color just to bring a cohesiveness to the entire project. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Whoops. I'm just doing a little more blending and pumping up this orange a little more. I'm sure we will, Sarah. Okay. Now, the next flower over, I'm going to work that one in turquoise. And the reason that I'm doing that is because we already colored the hat in the green and the turquoise, right? So I'm carrying that theme all the way through. Dark turquoise towards the center. And notice how I'm staggering that edge. Take your time. And then my medium. And then my light. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. And now that my marker has dried, that I put for the center of my flowers, I'm going to go in and add a little bit of black. A little dab will do ya, oh yes it will. Oh, gonna sneeze, hold on. Thank you, Tam Tam. Isn't that pretty? Of course, it'll be prettier if I'm on camera. Now, notice that in addition to adding the solid center, I'm putting a few dots around the outside. That's what makes that look really cool. Okay. Now I've got a flower here that I missed. As far as the center is concerned, so we'll catch that up. And then we'll let that dry a few minutes. And we'll get our little dots in the center. Okay, hold on 1 second while I use a tissue. Back in a flash. Okay. Now, let's go back to the surrounding leaves. And I'm sure that you'll remember that I've been using purples and browns to do my leaves. And I'm going to do the same thing at the top. So get yourself a light, medium, and dark purple. Carmen, hello. Good to see ya. You've had quite the adventure today, haven't you? Carmen, how are you doing? Obviously your surgery went well. Oh, okay, Sarah, like number 7. Okay. Let's start up on these leaves now, around our leaves and our little doohickeys. And don't forget, we're doing a combo of purple and brown. I'll tell you what, guys, that's pretty extraordinary when group members come in from the hospital to be part of the broadcast. You're sore, but you're here, of course. I'm tired, but trying not to sleep the days away. Okay, here's my brown. Isn't that beautiful? So, Carmen, to catch everybody up, what was the purpose of your surgery? If you care to share that information. Okay, there's our dark. Our medium. And then our brown. All right, let's get our little sprig here. Excuse me. Here's our darkest purple for our little flowers. Okay, so far we know there is definitely infection as the doctor encountered some pus pockets and blood pockets. So he said there is definitely infection, but he also found pockets of intestinal lung disease. Ah, how much longer are you going to be in the hospital? And everything's been sent out for testing, and that way the doctors will know, of course, how to treat it. Okay, check out the purple and the brown. On these little sprigs, I just did purple. And Carmen, just to let you know, I'm going to delete that comment. On the description of the surgery, just so that anybody watching the broadcast who doesn't know you and doesn't know what's going on isn't surprised. Thank you for the update. Okay, so this one's going to be a long haul because they're trying to get you to go back to rehab facility, and there's no way I'm going through all of that again. Okay, back to this area right here, right next to our gold buckle. Notice how I'm bringing in the brown? And then our purple. Isn't that pretty? So Carmen, how do you feel right now? Obviously well enough to join the broadcast from the hospital. Okay, now notice how I'm outlining this white flower here. And notice how I am leaving that white. And that's going to give us a really nice contrast. Okay, let's slide over to the left. And we'll get our purple and our brown. You know what? I'm not going to add brown to that one because we've got that gold buckle and that brown's going to disappear. So I'm going to bring in light purple. Excuse me. Carmen, how long will you be in the hospital? Okay. Gonna move the camera just a little bit. Again, at the top. Well, Carmen, at least you can join us from the hospital. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of purple here. And then we'll continue with our brown. Now, notice on some of these branches, I start out in purple and I end in brown. Isn't that pretty? Hello, Sibylesque. Okay. Top flower. Blue. All right, starting with my darkest blue. Now, there's not really a dark blue in this. But this is where I talk about using your artistic mojo. And adding your own thing. Now, before I continue with that, let me finish adding my black in the center. Your coloring at the hospital and rehab is to build back all your muscle memory and whatnot, but I'm going to fight to go home with my home healthcare team. Okay, there's my darker blue. And then I'm going to come in with a very light blue. Hold on, I've got a little purple area that I missed on this brown. There we go. Well, Carmen, I'm just glad that you're staying with the group. Okay, here's my light blue that I'm back blending into my darker blue. Take your time. Coloring is not a race. Carmen, you still hanging with us? Here, Carmen, I'm gonna do something for you. Let's see. All right, Carmen, watch this. Okay, Carmen, that heart's for you. There you go. Carly, hello. So there's a heart for Carmen. Carmen, that's dedicated to you. How's that? Okay, now I'm going to go back to this buckle. And I'm just going to even out this green a little bit. On the hat. So we still have the white down the side and the inside. But we'll take care of that top. Okay. Now, back to our left with our lightest purple. I sure did. I saw Carol Lee's win.
Here's what I found.
Coloring her coloring book today and went to the DMV. Excellent. All right, now what I'm doing is I'm putting a base color of light purple on all the little flowers here and leaves. Not the flowers, but the leaves, excuse me. Yes, Carly, I sure did. I saw your win today and I mentioned it. Well, hello, Kathy. Okay. Now I'm going to come back with my dark purple. And my brown. Kathy, how are you feeling today? Okay. dark purple, and brown. Kathy, any dizzy spells today? All right, here's our darker purple. Oh, none. Woohoo! Congratulations. Kathy, Carmen's surgery went well, and she's watching the broadcast tonight. All right, just getting my eraser here re-energized. Now I've added the brown on that one leaf. I'm going to come back and accent it with the purple. And I'm also going to darken the purple on these last few sprig things that are sticking out here. Now, let's go back to our dark green that we put on the hat. And we've got some little dots here that are floating around. Including a little green heart. All right, let me turn this back, which I'll do slowly. I don't want to make anybody dizzy, especially Kathy. Oh, Sarah, you didn't have to take medicine to work today, so that was your win. Cool. That's always a win. Okay. Now, let's go back. We've got one more flag to do. Yeah, that's what I gathered that you meant. I understand about your regular medicine. But the additional stuff, when you don't have to take it, that's great. Okay, blue. Back to my blue, light, medium, and dark. Now, this flag is basically all one color. but I want to jazz it up a little bit. So there's my dark. I've got a light edge coming down the side. And then we'll come in with a medium and we'll back blend that. And notice how we're making that division line disappear. Okay, Maggie, thank you. And then I'm going to come in and we'll blend. Because see, that's not a good blend right now. We've got these streaks. So we've got to get rid of that. Okay. Now, in addition to our blue flag, because you know that there's a method to my madness, right? Let me just clean this background up a little bit. I'm going to add a blue flower right here. So there's our dark. And our medium. And blending out that transition between the two colors. And then I'm going to come in with a light, medium, and dark red. Again, notice the ragged edge on the color. And then I'm going to pop in a little bit of pink. And then just to kick that off just a little bit, I'm going to add a touch of white to that edge. Isn't that pretty? You don't need a lot. And you know that my choice of white and black is Prismacolor. All right. Now, one more flower. We've got one right in the center here. We are almost done with this, guys. There's our dark. And then I'm going to come in with a pink. Oh man, that's pretty. And these other two flowers up here, I'm going to leave those white. But I will take a white pencil and I'm going to color out that gray at the bottom. And notice that I'm enhancing that white just a little bit with the Prismacolor. Okay. Isn't that pretty? All right, eyes. I'm just going to amp up my ivory a little bit. You know that I don't ever leave eyes white. If you do, it looks funny. Okay. One more thing and we can call this done. But meanwhile, what do you guys think? Let me get my chalks out. Now, if you've been following along and doing this with me, which is the whole idea of the buddy color, you got the same result. Okay, Janie. Okay, let me get my little spongy thingies. Now, I'm going to start out with a very light blue chalk. Kathy, I don't know if you were here when I did the earring, but I constructed that earring. I used teeny tiny gold balls. Around a centerpiece. Now I'm going to carry that blue all the way down here, and I went with another blue which is slightly darker. Okay, Janie. This is the next blue that I'm using. So I have a light blue and a next range of blue. Kathy, I'll show you the earring in a second. Okay. Kathy, this is made up of two styles of beads. That center blue right here is one bead. It's got this little blue in it. It's a gold with a blue center. And then the outside are teeny tiny, I mean really teeny tiny gold beads. I thought that would look pretty. Okay. Now you can use your finger or a paper towel just to rub that in just a little bit. And then on the other side here, we're going to add a light orange. Let me get my little spongy here. Just brush any excess away that you don't want. And then I'm going to add on top of that a bright yellow. And I want you to get used to using multiple shades of your chalks. And again, just brush away your excess. Now, if you need to add in a little more orange, which I do, go ahead and do that. And then one last thing for a hint of color is I'm going to add just a little bit of pink. So we have yellow, orange, and pink that we're working with. I need a slightly darker pink. And just keep adjusting it until you get what you want. There we go. So we have yellow, orange, and pink. Let me pull out. Isn't that beautiful? Now, what's my very last step after I've added the chalks? Now notice I didn't add color all around. I just highlighted over here. One little thing, I'm going to add a blue background between my package and my rose on the right hand side that I forgot. Details, guys, details. Come on, guys, what's the last thing we do when we apply eyeshadow? Sir Gummy. Kathy, you forget about Sir Gummy? All right. Let me stretch it out just to warm it up a little bit. Sir Gummy, for anybody that doesn't know, is an art eraser. And the reason that I use it is because in applying the eyeshadow, we got some of that eyeshadow on the colored pencil. So what I'm doing is I'm just using a straight up and down motion. And we're just getting that excess eyeshadow off of, for example, our hair. All right, just had a little spot there that I missed with the yellow. Now let's do the other side. And then I'm going to use my gum eraser just to clean off my white areas. Okay, I am calling this one done. So what, you just want to show the cover of the book, Janie? I don't understand. Okay, anybody remember what we decided to name this piece? Our little girl. Yeah, and that's right. Now you would spray the fixative, although I'm out of it at the moment. And as soon as my budget allows, I will be picking up another can or two. And yes, you can spray fixative over your rhinestones and your cloth. Amy, I'm saving that for another picture. We will do a remembrance picture for Linda. Okay, so the name that we decided on was Kelly. Because she is Irish. Yes, you can spray the fixative over the bows. Absolutely. Calling this one done. Oh, Janie, you told your daughter, she laughed, that's her name. Janie, I'd have to find it. Why don't you find the picture and bring it, send it to me in Messenger, and then I'll show it. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Now, again, if you followed along, thank you, Mamie, for hunting that fix tip. It's a 1306, and there is the affiliate link. Okay, guys, I'm pretty happy with this. I think it turned out well. And the whole idea of this particular picture was to have a nod to St. Patrick's Day, which is the green of the hat, the green of the eyes, and the shamrock, and then the rest of it basically being standard colors. Cindy, I'm glad you stopped by. Now, my next picture, which I will start tomorrow, since I ran a little longer in finishing up the buddy color. This is out of the book, The Many Faces of Jesus Christ, Volume 2. And in this particular book, I wanted to highlight images showing Jesus in slightly different circumstance than what we're normally used to seeing in pictures. Jesus was fully human. He laughed and he smiled. And he slept. There's one where he's got a really good hearty laugh. And then, of course, we have pictures of him where he was walking along gathering the wheat. Okay. So this one starts tomorrow night. Tam Tam, good night. I'll be able to broadcast that buddy color link to the whole group. I wasn't able to last night. Oh, Tam Tam, before you go. And Jonah, before you go. Mamie, will you please put up that list or that link to the Easter coloring books that are available through my group. There are 9 books, including a new one. I did a book on Easter gnomes. So guys, sit tight a couple minutes while Mamie gets that link for you. There are 9 Easter themed books if anybody's interested. Excuse me. And then Mamie's also going to put up the link to the newest Easter Gnome Jubilee. So Mamie, if you'd put up that up as well. I've already ordered it. Oh, I love the boy's smile on here too. Pure joy. Okay. Here's my newest book, Easter Gnomes Jubilee. And he's in a bunny hat. Go figure. And there's the link that Mamie just put up for you. So here are a few of the images. Let me get that light off here. I like the little gnome that's sitting in the water with the Easter eggs. And I really love the one with the Easter gnome on the embossed egg. That's this one right here. So if you guys like Easter and if you like gnomes, this is the book for you. I even have an image of 2 gnomes tossing Easter eggs to each other. Okay, enough of that. Again, there's the cover if anybody's interested. And, oh, I was going to check out what my when the walkthrough of that is. Hold on. Oh, arriving Sunday. Okay, so this is arriving Sunday. Check it out. And I will do a walkthrough then. Alrighty, next image. Tam Tam, see you tomorrow night. Thanks for waiting. Jonah, thanks for waiting. Carmen, are you still awake? Okay, Kirby Roseanne's Dark Fairy Tales. Little Red Riding Hood. Let me get a new paper towel because my previous one has pastel chalks all over it. Now, I'm going to start working on the wolf again, but before I do that, I'm going to grab my browns and I'm going to do this bottom branch just for the purpose of giving us, what's the word I want? Let me get rid of this. Okay, Mamie. I'm completely at a loss as to what word I want. A sense of cohesiveness to show you where this boundary is with the other tree. So, if you are coloring along with me, get your dark, medium, and light browns out. Oh, a sense of context. That's the word I wanted. Woohoo! Now, what I suggest, if you are coloring this with me, that you use a different set of browns than you did on your other trees. And that's because you want similar, but you want different. Because obviously trees come in different colors. So let me show you the browns that I'm using. There's my dark, medium, and my light. Okay, and then of course I'll be using my Payne's Gray with that. So, gonna move camera. I'll need to turn my page a little. Sorry for the wiggling. Okay, Kathy, thank you. Now, this time I'm going to start with my dark. It doesn't matter what you start with, whatever you feel comfortable with, which will give you the most clarity in coloring your piece. I've started my light with light before. But again, it doesn't matter what you start with. Now, normally, I like doing my dark last. Because that's where I can shape and shadow. Okay, so there's my dark. And now I'm going to come in with my light. And then we'll come in with our medium. Hello, Anne Labrie. Welcome back. I seem to recall that you've been here before. Mamie, welcome back. Anne, we haven't seen you in a while. I hope all is well. Oh, and you started coloring Rapunzel in this book. All right, give me a second and I'll take a quick look. Let's see what Rapunzel looks like. Oh, there you go. You were right. Page 11. Hi, Nana. Yeah, you were right. Page 11. Yeah, they are different. And how do you find it confusing? The page number is very, very light in the left or the right-hand corners. And then in the back is the explanation of the story. Oh, this is not Rapunzel. This is Bluebeard. If you're doing this, is this the one that you're doing? You said the one with the keyhole. Yeah, see, page 10 has a pirate on it at the top. Okay, Bluebeard. That explains what's going on with the women in there. In this French fairy tale, Bluebeard is a wealthy man who lives in a grand castle. He leaves on a trip, entrusting his new wife with the keys to all the doors of the castle, but forbids her from unlocking one in particular. Her curiosity gets the better of her, of course, and she unlocks the door, discovering the corpses of Bluebeard's 6 former wives. When Bluebeard returns, he notices a spot of blood on the key to the forbidden room and knows that his wife has disobeyed him. He threatens to cut off her head as punishment, but her brothers save her just in time. In Kirby's rendition of the story, the living wife joins forces with the 6 corpse brides, and together they give Bluebeard a taste of his own medicine. So yeah, as you just discovered, there are page numbers. They're very, very small. This is number 11. Now the book will make sense to you, sweetie. Okay, Kathy, you're back. Oh, Anne, you're welcome. Oh, you misread the pages in the book. All right. Glad to help. Anne, aren't you glad you came in? You need to be here more often, sweetie. And Anne, just to let you know, we just finished this buddy color. And that's out of Celebrating St. Patrick's Day Jubilee. And her name is Kelly. Well, Anne, thank you so much. Okay, let's keep going on our tree here. Now, I showed you that you can start with your dark if you want, but I'm going to continue with starting with my light. Now, when you color these pages, you know, like we do in grayscale, I don't want you to think of these pages in terms of plug and chug. I want you to think of it in terms of what makes the piece come together. Okay, there's our light. Here's our medium. In other words, I'm not coloring the lines that Kirby put in, I'm coloring the tree. That's the way you need to think about it. And take your time. All right, let's see if I can comfortably get this. So I'm coloring it horizontally so you guys are oriented better. And we've got little mushrooms and rocks that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, medium. Now, the reason that I like doing the dark the last in this instance is because that allows me to go back and detail in the crevices, which are the darker parts of the object, and that gives us our dimensional look. Hallelujah. Amen, amen. Sing it with me. Does everybody understand what I'm saying when I tell you color the object and not the lines? Coloring is not plug and chug. All right, here's my medium. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now these little guys up here are mushrooms. Let's try this again. These little guys up here are mushrooms. So we don't want to accidentally color those in. Let's see, how to define plug and chug. Plug and chug means just to do something without thinking. In other words, it basically means to do something without thinking. Does that make sense? It means to be mindless. Okay, here's our dark areas around our stones. Think of the word rote. Doing something by rote. R-O-T-E. So, if you're coloring this tree and you're just filling in the blanks, you're really shortchanging yourself on learning really good coloring. You should always color with purpose. Yeah, like automatic, that's a good one. Automatic pilot thinking. Not thinking about what you're doing. Exactly. Does that make sense? Yeah, kind of robotic. There we go. Robotic coloring. You should always, always, always color with purpose. In other words, let's say you're coloring a tree. If you do it like plug and chug, you're just going to say, oh, it's a tree, green leaves, da-da-da-da-da-da. But if you're coloring where you're thinking about it, just like the greenery in our little St. Patrick's Day, I surprised you guys by doing the leaves around the flowers in browns and purple. You weren't expecting that at all. Same with our leaves up at the top of the hat. And then when I showed it to you, you guys decided that you liked it. Okay. So the whole point of this conversation is think about your coloring. Okay, so here's our light. Please explain how this differs from grayscale. Okay. Let me finish coloring this tree stump here, although I haven't put in my details yet. All right, let me pull out. This page here is textured and shaded line art. In other words, when Kirby drew this, he went in, drew the lines to make the tree, and then went through and used additional lines to shade and to show people where the shading and shadowing is. Oh, and you don't need to thank me. I'll repeat it as many times as you need. Grayscale, on the other hand, and I was just showing this as a demo page, that's only why part of it's done. Grayscale, on the other hand, this whole area, for example, on the hat, is shaded in grayscale. So instead of using line art to shade an area like Kirby did, where the branches overlap, the grayscale is the actual shading. So this will be the darker portion to a medium, to a light, back to a medium, to a dark again. So notice that there are no lines close together to indicate that this is a darker spot. If this were a line art image, there would be a bunch of close lines, just like Kirby did with his tree. Right here where they overlap. Does that make sense? So you may want to call this shaded line art. The lines close together make the shading. There are no lines on grayscale. It's just a gradiated shade of gray to show you where your light and dark areas are. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have my book with me that's just plain line art. So Anne, if this were line art, plain line art, you wouldn't have any of these lines on here at all. All of this in the middle of that tree would be gone if this was just plain line art. I wish I had my book. Oh. Okay, so here is shaded line art to indicate where you color. Okay. The Disney books that we've been doing, that's line art. There's absolutely no shading on here at all. So there's the difference. There's our colored page that we did by the way of the wishing well. Everything that's shaded and shadow in here was added because there wasn't any guided shading on here. So hopefully that gives you a really good explanation. Now, some people call this grayscale. And for lack of clarity, I don't. This to me is not grayscale. It is shaded line art. This is grayscale. So make sure that you understand the difference. Exactly, Grace. It's a hybrid. That's a really good way to look at it. Is everybody clear between the three styles? And again, this entire book that Kirby did, again, I'm calling it line art. Here's another good example where he didn't use as much of his ink work. But he used a little bit right here just to indicate where you would color to make this look more dimensional. Okay. So I'm at a quitting point. We finished Kelly, our little girl with the green hat, green shamrock. And we continued to color the wood down here. That's fine, Anne. If you need repetition, that's fine. That's why I'm here. So we got our tree stump in here. I'm going to do a little more shading on it with my Payne's Gray. And work on that dimension a little more. Well, Anne, that's what a good teacher has, is patience, and I'm a good teacher. I want you guys to understand. Okay, guys, this is ILene Vick for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Guys, joyous, joyous coloring. Love on each other. That's what we're known for. I will see you tomorrow night, same time, same place. We will be working on our new grayscale, not grayscale, yeah, grayscale. This is Out of the Many Faces of Jesus Christ, Volume 2. Oh, and another thing about grayscale is you don't see distinct lines like you do in line art. That's the best way to distinguish between the two. See? This is shaded in shades of gray. This is shaded using pen strokes. So, line art. Okay. So see you tomorrow night, same time, same place, as I said. Guys, please hit that like button. Thank you so much. Please share this broadcast so others can enjoy what you just enjoyed tonight. We specialize in company and companionship. Okay. Till tomorrow night then. Have a great rest of the evening. And we'll get going on this buddy color. Have a great evening, guys. Thanks for attending. Mamie, thank you so much for your help. Bye.